Hazard F5 is up next, and he says, at what point or how did the idea come up for you to remain standing while doing the ankle lock? You originally applied it while on one knee, like Ken Shamrock, but after about a year or so, you did it standing and then later started grapevining the leg.
Well, you know what? I was on my knees, and I felt like I was portraying Kenny Shamrock too much because that's what Kenny did. He did the ankle lock first. And so I wanted to do something different. So I decided not to go to my knee, to stay on my feet. And when it was really time to make them tap, I would drop to the grapevine, drop down to the floor, and make them tap out. So that was a change out of respect for Kenny Shamrock.
There you go. Matt M., our buddy's up next, and he said, did any of your opponents ever tell you that you were too intense in the ring? And then he says, what did you get Paulie B for Christmas? Hey, the fact that I get to do this show with him is enough of a Christmas present for me, Matt. That's hilarious.
I gave Paulie nothing but love for Christmas.
So did any of your opponents ever tell you that you were too intense in the ring?
Oh, God, everybody. I had people come. I had Mick Foley come up to me before he wrestled me. He's like, Kurt, could you not go so hard tonight? He said, I don't know if I can make it for 12 minutes, and we have a 12-minute match, and I haven't been wrestling a lot. I had wrestlers do that all the time to me. They were nervous that I was going to get them tired, and that's a wrestler's biggest fear, getting tired in the ring. The last thing they want to do is get tired, and I was not your best friend if you were going to wrestle me, because you were most likely going to get tired, to an extent, exhausted. But that's just that's how I wrestle. My intensity is so off the charts. You know, that's why I love wrestling Benoit, because he can hang with me.
He can match you with the intensity. Yeah. Justin Reed is up next. When WWE released you in 2020, then you came back the next month to be the referee for the Riddle Thatcher Fight Pit match in NXT. Were there already plans to have you involved in the match before you got released?
No, there wasn't. I got released. I remember, Mark Carano called me and said, hey, don't show up for work this week. We're going to give you a severance pay for 3 months. And he said, I'm sorry, but we have to let you go. I didn't have a problem with it. I totally understood, because to be honest with you, I was one of the newest employees from a creative standpoint. I was a producer, and I figured if they were going to lay people off, I was going to be the first, because I was the last one hired. So I knew that it was coming. But they called me out of the blue for this match. And I think it was because it was an MMA type of match, and they wanted like an amateur wrestler to be part of it. And they wanted me to referee it. So I enjoyed doing it, man. It was a really good wrestler that performed that night. It was what do you call it? Cage match that Kenny Shamrock and Steve Blackman did. I forget what it was called.
Yeah, they called this one the Fight Pit. Yeah.
Okay. What was it, Dom?
The Lion's Den.
Lion's Den. That's
that match. That's right. Yes. Thank you, Dom.
Yeah, there he is. He came back. There he is. Drew Landry is up next, and he says, where do your matches with Benoit rank amongst your greatest? I think he's one of your top 2 greatest opponents. Drew's first pick is Eddie. What say you?
Well, you know what? Eddie and I had great storylines involved with our matches, so we had a little more added to it. Chris and I were just wrestling. Chris was a very simple guy, wasn't as creative as Eddie was, or as entertaining as Eddie. Chris was kind of quiet and to himself. And so we just display incredible wrestling matches. With Eddie, there was a lot of storyline behind it. So I think that's why people were more intrigued with my matches with Eddie, because of the storylines. But Chris and I had the best chemistry together.
There you go. Yambag Jones is up next. Kurt, name one talent you pitched to work with when you were the established veteran that the office said wasn't quite ready for prime time spot against you yet.
Nope, I never said that. You know why? Because I wanted all newcomers. That was the whole reason for the Kurt Angle Challenge. That's why I had John Cena I was his first match. They always wanted me to be whoever young guy that was coming up through. They wanted him to go through me first. And they knew I would make anybody look good. So I took a lot of pride in that.
Was there one that you said, hey, I want to wrestle this kid, and they said, nope, we don't want you fighting him?
No, it never happened.
Okay.
Because whoever they presented to me was ready.